What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how much money I think that people should have, how much of a sports betting bankroll to get started with sharp, profitable sports betting and actually make serious money from it. So this video may be a little controversial. There's a lot of people who say, oh, you can start with $10 and turn it into, $1 million with some crazy parlay. And sure, you could, right? You could turn a $1 lottery ticket at 7-Eleven into millions of dollars, but is that realistic? Is that unrealistic? So long story short, in this video, I'm just going to be breaking down how much money I think you need to get started with sharp, profitable betting strategies like arbitrage and positive EV. And then I'm also going to be breaking down why I think that this is true. I personally started sports betting with a bankroll of about $5,000. I just graduated college. I took my first job. I didn't have a ton of, savings or income. So I personally started sports betting with $5,000. And another thing to mention is, for example, let's say your bankroll is $150, right? And you're betting your entire bankroll every single day, right? You're betting $150 per day. Let's just say this is true. If you have a 10% ROI, that means you're making, which would be incredibly good, right? Like having a 10% ROI in sports betting is really, really good because of daily compounding, right? Your bankroll will grow quickly. You go from having $150 the first day to $165 the next day, assuming you're gaining 10% every single day. But obviously, in my personal opinion, if we're talking about making money sports betting $150 a day isn't that much, right? A 10% ROI is insanely good. Not even professional sports bettors have a 10% ROI. And if you're betting $150 a day, that means you're making $15 per day. It's probably not worth it. It's probably, a better use of your time to take an extra shift at work, make even more money. So when you decide to start taking your sports betting seriously, you have more money to actually be betting every single day, thousands of dollars. So obviously the caveat is if you enjoy sports betting, then you can have a $1 bankroll, right? If you're doing this for fun, any amount of money is fine, right? Like I like to play poker with my friends. I don't take it seriously. I used to, but I'm no longer the best poker player. Sometimes I'll go to Vegas, I'll bring $1,000 and I know most likely I don't have an edge and there's a good chance I'm gonna lose some of it, especially if I'm at a really good, poker table, but that's fine, right? I'm doing it as a form of entertainment. I'm doing it for fun. The purpose of this video is to go through if you want to actually make money, maybe even try to make a full-time income or have this being a serious side hustle, a serious income adder, right, for you, how much money do you need across your sports books in your sports betting bankroll to make it worth it? So again, I mentioned I started sports betting with a bankroll of $5,000, and I do really think that is the optimal starting point. I really don't think you should, start gambling with less than $1,000. What I'd really recommend doing is, getting a side hustle or a different job, whatever, saving up extra income to try to at least get a few $1,000s in your sports betting accounts. And the first main reason why is a lot of these sports books have sign-up bonuses that are extremely lucrative. So I'll give you a simple example is on BetMGM Sportsbook. They have a $1,500 sign-up bonus. I actually just helped my sister convert this sign-up bonus into a few $1,000s in profit on BetMGM. And what I wanted to mention is you obviously want to play this sign-up bonus for the full amount possible. It's an extremely lucrative promotion, right? If you lose your first bet of $1,500, they give you your money back in bonus bets. I've done videos kind of explaining how you can hedge these insured bets and turn them into risk-free profit. And again, if you only have an $100 bankroll and you do the BetMGM sign-up bonus for $100, you're missing out, right? This sign-up bonus, you can play for $1,500. So if you sign up for BetMGM, put $20 in, $100 in, place $100 on your first bet, you're missing out on a ton of easy money. There's so much money you can make on sportsbook sign-up bonuses, BetMGM, $1,500 insured bet. Now I will mention there's some sportsbooks like FanDuel that require less capital to do the sign-up bonus in a mathematically optimal way. So for FanDuel, it's bet 5, get 200. But again, I'm talking about to take your sports betting seriously, I think you need at least $5,000 because again, most of these books have lucrative sign-up bonuses. That's the first main thing. And if you're, not maximizing the value of these promos, in my opinion, it's foolish, right? BetMGM is giving you this insanely lucrative offer. You don't want to cut the value of that offer by 90% just because you don't have enough money, right? Like if I were to sign up for BetMGM and I only had $100, I would hold off. I wouldn't even place a bet on BetMGM until I have at least $1,500 in my account and can take advantage of the entire promo. So the second reason I think you need at least $5,000 to start sports betting seriously, like taking it serious as a side hustle, is, sports betting boils down to ROI. So if you have a 7% ROI, let's say that's not horrible, that's pretty good, and you're betting $10, your bet has a 70-cent edge, right? Whereas if you're betting $1,000 on that, you have a $70 edge. So most likely, if you're finding profitable bets, hitting arbitrage bets, positive EV bets for just a few dollars, you'll be able to make some money and you'll be able to have a solid ROI, but you're probably not going to be able to quit your job, scale your bankroll quickly, anything like that. So I'll give you a simple example is I just, am about to head back from a family vacation and I showed my sister arbitrage betting. We put a bunch of money in her accounts. She didn't have any betting limits. So as an example, we were able to slam some arbitrage bets. Arbitrage is just when two sports books have such different odds that you can bet equal and opposite outcomes. In this case, it was the over on DraftKings for the Thunder team total, the under on FanDuel. So you're hedging to guarantee a risk-free profit. So, on my sister's brand new accounts, no limits, no restrictions, we hit this arbitrage bet for $174 in risk-free profit, right? That's compelling. Making $174 risk-free. We hit this bet in the third quarter. 45 minutes later, when the game ended, my sister's accounts are up a net profit of $174. One bet wins, one bet loses, but because the two sportsbooks have such different prices, she makes a risk-free profit regardless, right? That's compelling. If you're only hitting these arbitrage bets for $10 and making 70 cents, maybe that's still worth your time, maybe it's not. But in reality, right, ideally, you're betting thousands of dollars every single day. So for example, let's say you have a 10% ROI, which is extremely good, probably not even realistic. Most sharps and pro sports bettors don't even have an ROI of 10%, but let's say you can get an ROI of 10%. If you're betting $1,000 a day, right, that means you're making $100 in projected profit every single day, or risk-free profit if you're arbitrage betting. So, if you're only betting $100 per day, you should just assume you're not going to get an ROI over 10%. If you're only betting $100 a day, that's $10, 10% ROI, $10 in projected profit every single day, $300 a month. So long story short, sports betting really boils down to how much are you betting. Every bet has an edge, right? A projected profit margin, whether it's arbitrage, EV, middles. And obviously, to make it worth your time, in my opinion, you probably need to be betting at least $1,000 every single day. You need to be gambling $1,000 every single day. That's a 10% ROI, again, which I think is very high. But if you're, betting with a 10% ROI, $1,000 a day, that means $100 in projected profit every day, $3,000 profit every single month. So when I started sports betting, really, I thought about bets in terms of what's my edge in ROI. And then I just tried to get down as much volume as possible. And again, I really think to take your sports betting seriously, you want to be gambling at least $1,000 every single day. But you don't know which sports books are going to have the best value on a given day, right? Sometimes FanDuel has value, sometimes it's DraftKings, sometimes it's BetMGM. So if you have a $5,000 bankroll and you're trying to bet $1,000 per day, that's possible. But again, your money's going to be split between multiple sports books. So if you ever need to withdraw to rebalance your accounts, that's not going to happen instantaneously. So if you're trying to bet $1,000 per day, maybe you have $1,000 in 5 different sports books. That, in my opinion, is much more realistic. Obviously, could you start sports betting with $2,000, $3,000, make some money? Of course, right? Of course. But I'm saying if you're trying to take it seriously as a source of income, my opinion is you need about $5,000. Now, similarly, how much money do you need to be betting every single day, and what bankroll do you need to make this a full-time income, right? Well, you can kind of back it out, right? Let's say you're betting $10,000 every single day with a 10% ROI. Again, a 10% ROI is very aggressive, probably not possible even, but if you're betting $10,000 every single day, making $1,000 a day, right? Your yearly P&L would be $365,000, right? You're making $1,000 per day. There's 365 days, in a year. So you can kind of back out from there, what is realistic in terms of betting on sports full time. Let's say you only need $50,000 per year to make sports betting full time worth it for you. You can kind of back out, okay, what's an ROI? I think I need 5%. How much do I need to be betting per day? And the one thing you need to remember too is it doesn't really benefit you, right, to have $1 million in all your sports books. These sports books, they're not going to take bet sizes for $20,000 in general, especially if you're a sharp, profitable bettor. Some books are going to cut down your betting limits. So even me personally, I have tens of thousands of dollars spread across different sports books. The hard part is getting down volume because I'm on limited accounts. I've made money on most of these sports books. They've cut down my betting limits. Usually I'm not even able to bet, more than $20,000, $30,000 a day. On plays with an edge, whether arbitrage or positive EV, because of limits. So in my opinion, if you want to bet on sports full time, you're a really good sports bettor, you probably need to be betting, $10,000 per day approximately, even with a 3% ROI, that's $300 a day, about $100,000 a year. That is relatively realistic and is ultimately why I quit my job, right? When I quit my job, I was betting probably about $10,000 a day with a 3, 4, 5% ROI. Once you include promos, arbitrage, positive EV, I quit my job and, I thought it was worth it at that point. But regardless, I hope you found this video helpful, a little theoretical, but kind of how I think about sports betting, bankroll, how much money do you need to take this really seriously as a side hustle or do it full time? So drop any questions you have below in the comments. I'll try to read everything. And again, thanks so much for your time, guys.